Hey everybody, welcome back to Terran's Books and Beyond. Today we're going to be doing my final video for Pride Month, and it is the This Book Tag is a Book Tag Full of Pride book tag. That can't be right. This book tag is full of pride. There it is. Here in Regina, we actually had our Pride Parade about a week ago. It was awesome. I mean, it was raining, but it was still pretty awesome. It did manage to clear up for like the second half of it. Everything else from that day was pretty great too. I got to dance the Pikachu. That was fun. He was getting real turned. Also, as you can see, I'm wearing a special shirt because my mom actually paints her and myself and my dad. She paints us all new shirts every year for the Pride Parade. This one I like specifically designed myself with her help, and so I'm going to try and get the whole thing in frame. It says, "We are all awesome," and it's got hearts with all the flags. So we've got bisexual, asexual, gay, intersex, agender, I believe. Or no, this is non-binary. This is agender, and this is pansexual, and this is trans. I wanted to include as many people as I could, and you know, I'm actually thinking next year I might do something similar and try and get even more on there, because I'm sure there are groups that I missed. Anywho, the purpose of this tag is to basically just do book recommendations of as many queer books as you can find off your bookshelf, and I have a significant amount. I mean, unfortunately, I haven't gotten through them. Like, some of these are just things that I haven't read yet, but I bought them on the word of other people, so I'm still gonna sort of recommend them. I'll specify what I have and haven't read. Some of these I'm gonna just be breezing through because I've already talked about them in my previous Rainbow Flag book tag videos, which I'll link below as well, so you can see my thoughts on those. I tried to categorize into the groups, and I was having kind of difficulty because I do have a lot of overlap in intersectionality between a lot of different sexuality and gender stuff, but I basically managed to narrow them down to 4 piles. We've got guys with guys, girls with girls, gender stuff, and what I just call a bunch, because there's a bunch in them. And of course, some of them don't fit that neatly into that category, so I will expand on what kind of representation is specifically in the book when I get to it. So with that said, let's begin! So first we've got the Guys with Guys pile. The first book I have on top here is, oh god, I'm gonna drop all of these. First book I've got on here is Whatever, or How Junior Year Got Totally Fucked. It's basically a bisexual stoner comedy. It's in the Guys with Guys pile because the main love interest for the guy is another guy, but they do like make it pretty clear that he is bisexual. I do kind of wish that they delved into that a bit more in this, but all in all, it's a very fun book, and so I recommend it purely on the fun factor. Then we've got Luck in the Shadows by Lynn Flewelling. I haven't read this. I actually just picked this up like 2 days ago. It looks fun. It's one of those like medieval fantasy type fairs. It was recommended to me by RC from NekuTheBOOklocke. If I remember correctly, it's got a bisexual guy in here, and so he and another guy get together at some point over the course of the book. It looks fun, so that's why I've got it on here. Next, we've got Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe by Benjamin Leary Sands. I really like this book. I talked about it in my Rainbow Flag book tag. Next, we've got Hero by Perry Moore. This is about a kid who, his 2 biggest secrets that he keeps from his dad is that he's gay and he has superpowers, and his dad isn't really keen on either of those things because his dad used to be a superhero, and then he got blacklisted from the superhero team when he was blamed for like an attack on the city that he wasn't actually responsible for. So it's the trials and tribulations of this kid. He's going through a coming of age story where he has to figure out like how to deal with his sexuality and how to deal with being a superhero. It's really good. It was like the first queer book I ever read. Like, before reading this, I didn't even think about the fact that I hadn't read any other queer books or really that many diverse books in general, and then I read this and I really started to think about, this was the first time I'd really seen myself in a book, and so it was kind of an experience reading this. Next, we've got Simon versus the Homo Sapiens Agenda. It's really good. It really explores a lot of stuff about coming out of the closet and being in the closet. I talked about this more on my Rainbow Flag book tag, so you should go check that one out there. Young Avengers, the first run of Young Avengers from like 2006, I think. This one I've got in here because 2 of the characters, Wiccan and Hulkling, are in a relationship. They don't really talk about the relationship they're in until like a few issues on in the line, but like once they get it out in the open, it becomes one of the major emotional cores of the whole series. In fact, it wasn't supposed to be revealed until like way later in the series apparently, but the readers caught on to like the love between the 2 dudes so quickly that I was like, well, might as well just stop pretending, let's just go full throttle towards the gay. Alright, next on this pile is More Happy Than Not by Adam Silvera. This is one I haven't read yet, but it was heavily recommended by basically everyone I've watched on YouTube. As far as I can tell, it's basically Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, but it's with gay guys. So that should be interesting. Then there's We Are the Ants, which is the trauma conga line that I also talked about in my Rainbow Flag book tag. It's got really good gay representation, and I guess pansexual representation as well. I mean, they don't drop the word, but the way they describe it, and that's what I've come to understand pansexuality as. And the last two books in this Guys with Guys pile are two that I got pretty recently. I've got Fan Art by Sarah Tregay, which was heavily recommended by one of my offline friends. She said that, Tanner, oh my god, you have to fucking read this so we can talk about it forever and ever. I'm like, okay, calm down, Yvette. This one is about a guy who's starting to fall for his best friend, but he doesn't even know if his best friend is gay or not. There's also like a Greek chorus of girls in the background who are shipping them really hard. It sounds like it'll be interesting. Then I have Rainbow Boys by Alex Sanchez. This is a book that I just recently found out about, but looked really good. It's like from the early 2000s. It was recommended by Kaz from Cats and Camera, and also apparently one of the characters is Matt Bomer. Like, that was a surprise when I actually saw the cover. Alright, that's the Guys with Guys pile. Now we're gonna delve into the Girls with Girls. Oh god, so many of these are hardcovers. Oh, heavy. Oh, I don't have to work out today because I'm lifting so many books. I'll start off with Jenna Finn. The girl-girl relationship, it's kind of really ambiguous as to whether it's romantic or not. Like, it's hard to describe. It's one of those you really have to read. I will say, I did a review on this, and I said it's more about mental health than it is about any kind of queerness. But, you know, the queer rep in it is still pretty good and pretty interesting. There's a lot of layers to it, but I was really good. I really enjoyed it. I would recommend it. Then we've got Run by Cody Keplinger, which is one of my favorite books of all time. I talked about it in way more detail in the Rainbow Flag book tag. Next up, we've got Labyrinth Lost, which is about a girl who's a witch, but she doesn't want to be a witch, but when she tries to get rid of her power, she accidentally banishes her entire extended family to hell, so that's an issue. She ends up having to team up with, like, the neighborhood bad boy and her best friend from school in order to try and save them. It's not a huge spoiler, but in the end, the main girl, Alex, she eventually realizes that she's bi, and she gets together with her best friend, Rishi, who they never really say whether Rishi is a lesbian or bi. In my mind's eye, I'm saying she's a lesbian because I can't see her ending up with any kind of guy at any point. Then we have If You Could Be Mine by Sarah Reason, which is another book that I talked about in my Rainbow Flag book tag. This was really good, and I totally recommend this as well. I think actually my mom's going to be borrowing this pretty soon because she really wants to read it. Then we've got, oh my god, this is huge, Runaways it's by several people because, like, I only have like the first volume here, but there's like so many more issues coming in after this. It's comic by Marvel Comics. It's similar to Young Avengers in tone, but it's different in storyline because it's about a group of kids who find out that their parents are all supervillains, and so, well, they run away. At some point, I probably shouldn't be holding this one. I should probably grab the second volume, actually. Here we go. In the second volume, after they've dealt with the first storyline, it comes out that one of the girls on the team, Carolina, she is a lesbian, and eventually she gets involved with another person named Zavin, and I say that because, see, this is another thing that could go in the gender pile, because Zavin is a Skrull. They're like shape-shifting lizard aliens. There's a whole thing where, like, they're both aliens, and Carolina was betrothed to Zavin before either of them were even born, in the hopes that, like, their marriage could save their warring planets. And Zavin, when they find out that Carolina only likes girls, they're like, oh, that's fine. Like, we're Skrulls. We change gender as easy as hair color. I was like, nah, chick now. As the relationship develops, like, Carolina, she loves Zavin, but there's a lot of talk about gender and how humans see it versus how the aliens see it, and how, like, Zavin is starting to internalize some of the human culture elements of gender and how they're trying not necessarily to do that. So it gets really interesting, but that's something that's spread throughout the whole run. So you're kind of going to have to read the entire series to get the full effect, but you totally should, because a lot of the classic Runaways is freaking awesome. Next we have Fun Home, which is another book that I talked about in my Rainbow Flag tag. Next we have Huntress, which I keep on talking about because I keep on saying how I have to reread it, and that is actually going to be coming up soon. Stay tuned. Then we've got Lies We Tell Ourselves by Robin Talley. This one, it's about two girls that fall in love. There's two problems. First off, it's in the 50s, and second off, one's black and one's white. So it's just like all the issues you could possibly have in a relationship, just stuffed into one thing. Oh boy. And the last book in the Women with Women pile is another one I haven't read yet. It's Juliet Takes a Breath by Gabby Rivera. This one is about a girl, Juliet, who she's just moved to a new town, and she also just came out to her family. She's trying to figure out her life, and as she does so, she also starts interning for one of her favorite feminist authors, and so she's hoping that in doing that, she'll be able to, like, discover herself and figure herself out completely. And, you know, as YA goes, we know that's not entirely going to happen. So this is another one that I'm also excited to read once I get to it. Okay, so let's move on to the gender pile. Now, unfortunately, this pile is not as big as my other piles, just because, like, stuff about people being transgender or non-binary or gender fluid or agender, it's something that's not as big a thing in the YA world or the literary world in general. Recent stuff that I've read about books and books in general, like, it does show that we are trending towards including that stuff more and more, but it's still going to be a while before, like, the caliber and the quantity can match all the other stuff that we have right now for just cis people. Anyways, the first book I have in this stack is Kitchen by Banani Yoshimoto. This book is about a girl who, her parents die, and so she goes to live with her best friend and his mom is a trans woman. The three of them just kind of heal and bond over their love of cooking and being in the kitchen. I haven't read it yet, but it has gotten, like, rave reviews from basically everyone I've ever seen talking about it. So it's got to be doing something right. Then we have Symptoms of Being Human, which is another book I haven't read, but I do have it on my queue shelf. It's going to be read soon, within the next few months. And this one is about a person who is gender fluid, and on their therapist's advice, they start a blog about their fluidity. And it's like, I'm not a guy, I'm not a girl, I'm just trying to be myself, and, like, the trials and tribulations that come with being a gender fluid teen in today's world. Then we've got Dreadnought by April Daniels, which I just picked up the other day, and it is about a trans girl who, like, she hasn't come out yet, she hasn't started transitioning, but all of a sudden, like, the greatest superhero, like, falls in front of her and dies and passes all of his powers on to her, and part of those powers involve turning her physically into a girl. So it's something of a win-win-lose situation where it's like, yay, I'm super powerful, yay, I am finally the kind of person I want to be, but uh-oh, now everyone knows my darkest, scariest secret. This has been getting a lot of attention and a lot of great reviews since it, like, even appeared on anyone's radar, so obviously this one is also going to be really good. And then finally for the gender pile, we have If I Was a Girl by Meredith Russo. This is the only one in that pile that I actually have read, and I adored it. It was so good, I was saying that it should be taught in schools, and I talk about it way more in my Rainbow Flag book tag, so you can head over there to find out what it's about. Alright, and so now the final pile, which is the A Bunch pile, and so that's just the stuff that has, like, a whole bunch of representation and intersectionality and things that I wasn't able to categorize into the other things. So let's drag these over. Oh my god, this is a heavy pile. So first in this stack is the Young Avengers, and you're probably thinking, Tanner, you already talked about Young Avengers. Listen, this is the second full run. Like, there was the first run that was like 12 issues, then there were a few mini-series, and then this was like the second ongoing series. And it's written by Kieran Gillen and Jamie McKelvey. This just takes the beginning gayness of the first issues and just completely expands on it. So in addition to Wiccan and Hulkling, who are still together, we have Prodigy, who is a former X-Man, who is bisexual. We have Miss America Chavez, who is a lesbian. We have Kid Loki, who, like, he never cuts any corners on the fact that he is basically gender fluid and sexually fluid in all manner, and basically all Asgardians are. And the whole run is really good. It's got a lot of stuff on, like, being a teenager and dealing with your parents and relation stuff. It's also got an extra-dimensional parasite that once ate the narrator. And yeah, like, the whole thing is very stylistic, and it's kind of what made me want to go back and read all the other Young Avengers stuff too. Then there's Meg and Linus by Hannah Nowinski, and this I've gotten the bunch of stuff pile just because the main characters, Meg is a lesbian and Linus is a gay guy, and they're bonding over the fact that they both love Star Trek and they both love coffee, and they're both the only two queer people in town as far as they know. So yeah, the drama and hilarity that can ensue from that situation. Then we've got The Eye on the Door by Pat Barker. Pat Barker writes a lot of books on PTSD following World War I, World War II. This one is just after World War I, and it deals with, like, paranoia about sexuality in Britain. So I put it in the bunch of stuff pile just because I don't know if it specifically focuses on any one group or any one couple. I feel like it's more broad in its scope. So it's going to be really interesting. It's probably going to be really hard to read once I get to it, but it's also a really interesting topic that I'd love to delve into. Let's see, Night Vale we talked about in the Rainbow Flag book tag, where it doesn't have a lot of overt queer representation, but a lot of the background characters are queer, and it's a major element in the book that queerness is just not a big issue in the town of Night Vale. Like, no one cares who you like or what you identify as. So it's just like, it's all good. Then I have Not Otherwise Specified by Hannah Moskowitz, and the reason this one is in the other stuff pile is because the main character, Edda, she's bisexual, but, like, her relationships with guys and girls are both given equal value. Like, one of them isn't declared to be better for her over the other, and so that's kind of a rarity in a lot of bisexual literature, but, like, obviously Hannah Moskowitz is going to be able to do that fine because she is bisexual, she knows the deal. Next up is Every Heart a Doorway, and unless this is, like, your very first video on BookTube that you're watching, you probably already know the entire plot of this because everyone has been talking about it. But just in case you haven't, I talked about it more in my Rainbow Flag tag. It's a fantasy, it's got an asexual main character and a trans main character. I think everyone under the sun is recommending this, and I do too! Pile of Bones is another book that I recommend recommended in the Rainbow Flag book tag, it's got really good representation, although they don't really label a lot of stuff. I know one main character is gay, and another one is either bi or pan, and then one of the girls, she's either a lesbian who dated guys in the past, or she is a fully fledged bisexual. They never make it clear which. And then there's another girl who, she's obviously interested in women, but she has a kid, so clearly she was also with a guy in the past, and they never say whether she's a lesbian or bisexual or what. But the point is, the entire main cast is queer, and that's just beautiful. And finally, we've got The Wicked and the Divine by Kieran Gillen and Jamie McKelvey. This is possibly my favorite comic book series of all time. And this is possibly my favorite, like, collected edition of any comic book series because it's so shiny. It's so pretty! And I'm not going to hold it for the whole video because it's also really heavy. Anyways, the plot of Wicked and Divine is that every 90 years, 12 gods are reincarnated as young adults, and that they basically just live as rock stars and they're worshipped as celebrities and all that stuff. And then after 2 years, they go out in a blaze of glory, which usually means they're just like dead and on fire and missing their heads. And it's also really great for representation because pretty much the entire cast is gay. I mean, see, now I do have to pick it up so I can go through everybody and not leave anyone out. We've got Amaterasu, who experiments with girls. We've got Lucy, who is, like, gender weird because it's Lucifer, but incarnate in a female body. And she plays it fast and loose with the androgyny, and she is also, like, attracted to girls. So we're not sure quite exactly what extent anything is with there. Got Sockbent, who just has orgies, so, like, gender is whatever. Baphomet and Morgan are like the only mainstay couple, and honestly I think they just have single target sexuality towards each other. Minerva is 12 years old and not getting with anybody. Woden is an asshole. Dionysus, I don't think Dionysus specified his sexuality. That was a mistake on my part. I was actually rereading some other issues of The Wicked and the Divine after recording this, and he does actually mention his sexuality. He's ace. So, yay! Ace representation! Inanna is like Lucy in that they are a female goddess, but incarnate in a male body, like so the reverse, I guess. And they go by he, him pronouns, but that's just because they haven't really found anything that encapsulates all of what they are. And they're also in a gay relationship with Baal, who, like, his first time with a guy was with Inanna. Inanna was, like, his closet key, and so they're, like, the other OTP of the series. Then we've got Tara, who at no point isn't really specified what she's into. And then we've got Urdur, and Urdur is a trans woman and is also involved in a, as far as we can tell, a poly relationship with 2 other girls. Okay, so that covers all of my queer books. I mean, I probably missed something. There's probably something else somewhere back here, but after lifting all of those, so many of them are hardcovers. My arms are so tired. Anyway, so this would be the point where I tag people, but I've kind of been fast and loose with the tagging or not tagging of people in the past few videos just because I've seen a lot of Pride videos going up on my feed, and so I wasn't necessarily sure whether to tag people or not, whether people are going to do this or not, and plus the fact, like, Chris Vigilante, who tagged me for this, he basically tagged everyone that I would have tagged as well. So I wasn't necessarily sure what to do, but I decided instead of, like, explicitly tagging people, I'm just going to recommend some of my favorite, like, queer booktubers. So first up, like I've said, we've got Chris Vigilante, who tagged me for this video. He also did this tag beforehand. It's this awesome 20-minute long thing of book recommendations. I probably would have gotten more book recommendations off of that video if I hadn't gotten so many from him already, like peppered throughout his other videos. And of course, everything I'm going to link to in the bottom. There's also Kaz from Cats and Camera, who I also mentioned earlier in this video, I think. She did like a 2-part video on all of her gay and queer recommendations. There was one video that was just books, and then another one that was also like comics and TV shows, and I think she also did movies too. Like she really just covered the whole gamut of stuff you can look for representation. So that was awesome. Then we've got Dylan the Reader, who he did a video on his top 5 LGBTQI recommendations, and I thought that was a pretty good video, so I think I can recommend this as well. And then, oh, obviously we have RC from NekuTheBOOklocke. He's like my guy when it comes to this kind of stuff. He did the Rainbow Flag book tag last year, and so that's why I did mine just recently. He also recently did this whole video on sexuality and literature and just sexuality in general, and it was really good and it was really heartfelt. So like, if you're not going to watch this whole channel, well, what's wrong with you? But if you're not going to watch this whole channel, then like at least watch that video because that's just such a good video. And then we've got RJ from RJ Reads, and I don't think he's specifically done a video on queer book recommendations or anything similar to that topic, but he is gay and he does do some pretty good videos, so you should definitely throw some support his way as well. And that's everyone I can think of. If I missed you, sorry. I've been recording this for an hour. I've just been trying to get as much information in here as I can, so I'm sure I accidentally skipped over somebody. But anyways, this is the part of the video where I ask for recommendations, so you can recommend me other books or, you know, movies or TV shows or comics or YouTubers or Strange Looking Clouds that have really good queer representation, and I'll definitely follow up on that at some point. I have such a long list of things to get to. It might be a while, but I'll definitely look at them before I die. So in conclusion, queer books are great. Happy Pride, everybody, and I'll see you all later. I need